Hey, good morning from Lake James again. This is the 88th annual Lake James School of Missions. And man, it's right here in our own backyard. It's one of the best missions conferences because missions minded people from local churches and missionaries from all over the world are gathered right here at Lake James. So Mitzi and I love this event right here, like 6 miles from our church building. It's pretty delightful to be a part of this. But this morning we're continuing to listen in as the letter that the Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Rome is being read, and Paul is challenging them. The first part of chapter 13, he says, it is a reasonable thing. Well, the first part of this section of his letter, it's a reasonable thing when you consider who God is. When you look at what he's done for you, it is a reasonable thing to offer your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable through Jesus Christ. It's a reasonable thing to follow up on that and let that transformation, that metamorphosis, have its complete way in transforming us from what we were to the image of Christ. And here in verse 13, he's bringing some very practical definition to that, where he says, let us behave properly as in the day, not in carousing and drunkenness, not in sexual promiscuity and sensuality, not in strife and jealousy. You know, the Apostle Peter said about the same thing in 1 Peter chapter 4. He says, starting in verse 1. So you can look this up in your own text. 1 Peter chapter 4, he says, therefore, since Christ has suffered in the flesh, you arm yourselves also with the same purpose. And that's the key. We have the purpose of Christ, which is to seek and to save the lost, and ultimately to bring glory and honor to the Father. Our life is to glorify him, because he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, so as to live the rest of the time in the flesh, no longer as a slave, no longer for the lusts of men, but for the will of God. For the time already past is enough for you to have carried out the desire of the Gentiles, having pursued a course of sensuality, lusts, drunkenness, carousing, drinking parties, and abominable idolatries. That's all in the past. In all this, they are surprised that you do not run with them into the same excesses of dissipation. What a nice way of saying the people you used to run with are surprised that you don't love those things anymore. They're shocked that you don't want to do those things anymore, that your love has changed, and they're surprised. And then they malign you. Then they speak evil of you, which, you know, these are the people that used to be your friends, or you thought so, and they thought so too. Now they're wondering, what changed? What is so different in you? And the difference is how we let the light of Christ's life, presence, love shine through us, radiating from us the character of Christ. We don't love those things anymore. We were deceived and enslaved by the lusts and the desires of our body. But now we recognize what those things really are and the consequences. So we want nothing to do with them any longer. And the people around us then notice immediately a difference in our language, a difference in the way we talk about other people, a difference in the way we work. The differences that Christ makes in transforming us are significant and noticeable. So today, as we begin this work week, what a joy it was to gather together with the saints yesterday and to worship together at the church building yesterday morning. But today we continue our worship. Our walk with Christ isn't just once a week, one day a week. It's 7 days a week. So walk with Christ, fix your eyes on him. He's the one that showed us how to live in this world. God bless you as you shine his life, his love, his presence into the world where you live, whether it's your house, your neighborhood, your workplace, the grocery store, wherever you go. may the light of Christ's love shine through you, because we know that he loves us. And I want to remind you again today that God loves you, and we love you.